Hey, 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 hey. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another wonderful winning Wednesday. If you could just give me a few minutes, let me settle in, make sure that we are live and that you can hear me and all the other technical stuff. But come on in and just give me a few minutes. We should be starting in a few minutes. Uh, let's just make sure everything is running as it should be. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. And thank you for those of you who regularly send us questions. Today's session, I'm going to talk about something that somebody actually sent out to us. So it will be an interesting one. But in the meantime, let me just quickly get this started. I will be able to start this session as soon as give me a few more seconds and then we should be ready to go. I'm not sure if you are able to hear me. Are you able to hopefully start this session? Hopefully I don't pull a Lee Johnson on you and go for a full session and nobody can hear what I'm saying. So, all right. Thanks everyone for being here again to another session of Wonderful Winning Wednesday. It's always a pleasure to be here. A couple of things before we get into what we want to talk about today is that one, we're trying out this new time slot. I think a lot of you have expressed that sometimes mornings are a little bit busy. It might be better to go a little bit later in the afternoon. So we listen, and we decided to come in today at 4, and going forward we will be coming in at 4 p.m. Eastern unless we change that, and we will let you know as well. But let's give it a shot and see how this goes at 4 p.m. And that hopefully more and more of you will be able to come into the sessions to grow with us. And the second thing is that today Lee is not available with us today. He had to go for training. So he's in training in California, enjoying great weather or better weather than where I am. And not only that, he's been there for a week. So he should be ready and fired up when he comes back. Hopefully, he'll be able to share a lot of what he was doing and some insights that he can share with the rest of us. But I'm here today, and today is not going to be a long session. We should be able to be in and out, unless, of course, there are a couple of questions that will come in. But I want to start this show today with just talking about, should I say, interest rates? I say this because in real estate right now, it doesn't matter whether you are seasoned or not a seasoned investor. A lot of the conversations go around what is the interest rate? What is the interest rate? Now, I wear two hats. I am a licensed realtor in Virginia, so I work a lot with home buyers, particularly first time home buyers. That's my passion. I thoroughly enjoy working with first time homeowners. I understand the importance of taking that first step. And I love being a resource and being able to guide through first time home buyers. I do work with sellers as well, but one of the things that a lot of times people from the residential also talk about is interest rates. And then my other hat, I have an investment company with my husband where we work with investors, any human being who is interested in investing in real estate. We work with people like that and we help them deploy some of their funds into real estate opportunities across the country. And part of that involves underwriting or analyzing an opportunity to just make sure that those numbers are sound. Yes, the numbers are projections, but we still run those numbers to just make sure that they are sound before we make any decisions as to whether we are going to invest or not. Now, part of running numbers includes that underwriting, and I typically do that underwriting. And I can tell you a lot of times when you do that underwriting, the interest rate oftentimes can make or break a deal. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, let's just go back. Let's go back to what, 2022, 21, around COVID time. There were tons and tons of opportunities where people were coming into deals, and all these deals were underwritten in what, maybe let's say no more than 4% interest. And you can imagine, though, some of those now, if they are being underwritten, you are now looking at 6, maybe slightly 7%, or however much. And the difference between the two, that's just what you would say, okay, if I've been paying mortgage for 4,000 and now I have to pay at least 2% because I was paying 3%, 4%, now I have to pay a little bit more. You just have to have that little bit more to be able to actually make that payment, right? So, yes, interest rates affect your investments largely like that. And then on, of course, there's more other aspects or expenses that also go in. I just wanted to touch only on the mortgage. And then when we go to residential, we find the same thing. If you have your mortgage where now you are currently paying 3.5% or you are paying 4%, I've had a lot of conversations with people who say, listen, I really want to, it's time for my family to move into from a townhouse into a single family home. However, I cannot bring myself to pay 6.5%, right? And these are conversations that are really going around everywhere. When you get into real estate, you find a lot of these conversations surrounding interest rate. And what I just wanted to share is I had a conversation with one of my great contacts at a lender yesterday, and we were discussing an opportunity down in Maryland. And the conversation was actually surrounding the interest rate yet again. And I said to him, which is what a lot of people keep asking, when are the rates going to go down? And I was taken aback by his response, because his response was, hey, rates are already back to where they typically would be. And I said to him, please elaborate a little bit more. And I think it, it's interesting how right now, almost more than even half the people I have conversations with, they are still waiting for interest rates to go back to the threes or maybe fours. And that's what, in their view, is back to normal. But then you have to go back and say, let's look at the data, because a lot of times we we tend to remember more the things that are great for us, right? For example, when you were able to refinance and get into that 3% or 4%, I'm curious where your interest rate was prior to that, where your interest rate was when you first bought that property. I say this because I see a lot of people opting to be on the sidelines because they say they are still waiting for the interest rates to go down to the fours. And based on data, historical data, where we are now in the 60s or so, it's still pretty much, I don't know if I should call it a standard. So if you are waiting, you might be waiting for a pretty long time, unless something happens. I mean, nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But if something happens and we get to that, then yes, that will be a great opportunity for everyone really to jump in and lock in those rates. But what I wanted to really just say with that conversation is that everybody is going to be different. Everybody is different. Oh, excuse me. Let me have a bit of water. Excuse me. And everybody's going to be different. Everybody's expectations are going to be different. Everybody's needs are going to be different. Before you make any of these decisions, don't just look at the interest rates. If anything, look at your historical data as well and gauge and see whether it makes sense for you to wait or not. But make sure that your decisions are based off of data. I think that's the most important thing, to make sure that it's not based on hearsay. If you have data and you say, I'm making a decision based on this, to me, I believe that's a better approach than waiting for someone to say, oh no, rates are too high, wait, right? Because you might be waiting for quite a long time. But anyway, one of the things that I wanted to also talk about today was uh, a question that somebody sent out to us last week. And the question was, are we the business owners, or are we the business operators of Value Investment Partners? Now, you may know that Value Investment Partners as a brand has other businesses underneath it. We have Value Investment Partners Business Credit, we have Value Investment Partners Residential, we have Value Investment Partners Multifamily, and we have Value Investment Partners Insures, right? All these work together. Ultimately, all of them are all about equipping and building our community to make sure that we have the opportunity to build generational wealth, whether it's through real estate, whether it's through financing, whether it's through entrepreneurship and having that support to be able to do well in your entrepreneurship journey. However, this question about whether we were business owners or business operators, I loved that question because that is one of the things that, as we were growing the business, we had to sit down and discuss and figure out, who do we want to be? Who do we want to be as individuals, and what do we, or where do we see this brand going? The reason why that was important for us is because we have our own plans, we have our own dreams and desires. And starting a business was so that we can meet those plans or those desires, right? Now, let me give you at a very high level. A business owner typically, of course, owns the business. This person, most of the time, you're not as actively involved in the business, although some people, most people sometimes would hire others just so that those people can now come and manage the business. And the business owner is more like a visionary. The business owner has the vision for where he wants to take or grow this business, and will be supported by these managers who do the daily running of the business, or business operators. And then there are business operators. So business operators are directly involved in the running of the business of daily basis, right? So they're the ones who will handle all the operations, they'll handle the management, decision making. And while many times with entrepreneurs, you will find that the entrepreneur is both the business operator as well as the business owner, right? For us specifically, we have always said off that our goal is to enjoy certain freedoms in life, which is why we stepped away from corporate America. And some of those freedoms are the time freedom, financial freedom, and location freedom. So we know that for us to be able to achieve or to get these freedoms, we knew we could do it through owning our own businesses and being business owners versus business operators. Take a typical example. Right now, Lee is away. And while he is away, the business is still running because we do have processes in place. We do have support people in place who are able to do what needs to be done. And that allows us the location freedom and the time freedom. We are in a position where we would be able to go away even on vacation for a week or two, or even 3 weeks or a month, and business will still continue to run. So, my question to you today is, as you are building your own businesses, have you thought about or documented or discussed with your families where you see this business that you are running or that you are building headed to? Are you looking to continue just being a business owner and having a business operator to do the daily runnings? Or is your preference to do both? And if your preference, whatever your preference is, does it align with your plans, with what you desire for your family, right? I know that in the beginning, it's pretty much tough. In the beginning, most of us wear both hats, both business owners and operators. However, I think it makes business sense and just sense for you to have a vision of what is it that you want to get out of your business. What are you looking for? Are you looking for to continuously be working on this business on a daily basis, not being able to step away from the business, not being able to go on vacation because as soon as you leave, then doors close, right? And oftentimes I hear people talk about, when you are a business owner, you literally have to work 7 to 7. And that for some people is how they vision or envision being business owners. So it's going to vary from person to person. However, I just wanted to bring it up and, have that conversation with you as business owners to say, what is your vision? Are you looking to do this on a daily basis from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and not have a break and work Saturday, Sunday, and continue to just pour in, pour in, pour in? Or is your vision that I'm going to pour in for a year or so until the business is established, and I'm going to bring on board operators who can work with me to do the daily running, and me as a business owner, I just go out there, strategize, be the visionary of the business, and lead the business into where I foresee the business being. And just to close off, one of the things that also should propel your reasoning for whether you're looking to really be a business owner or you want to be a business operator is that as you build your business, a business is something that you should be able to attach a value to. And what I mean by that is today, if somebody decided or came to approach you and said, hey, I'm interested in buying your business. Is your business something that can be bought, right? Because if you are the business and you do everything, You make all the decisions by yourself. You do all the work by yourself. You do the managing, you do the operations, you do pretty much everything. When you are not available in the morning to go see a doctor, everything stops. When you're not available on weekends because you decided to go watch your one of your kids' soccer match, the business stops. You have to decide on some of these things because you have to have that long-term vision to say, will this business be a going concern even when I'm not there? Is this a business that I can say to someone, this is the value of this business, and I can sell it to you, and the business will continue going and growing, even with me having now sold this business to someone else? Those are just some of the things that you want to consider. Of course, your value also is going to really be tied down to what assets the business has. And assets is not only just the equipment that the business may have and things of that sort. Businesses should cash flow such that they have sufficient to have a certain value attached to them. All right, I think that was just a handful. That was quite a lot that we spoke about, especially that Lee's not here, so I don't have anyone to come in and have a different perspective. But I believe him and I are aligned on one thing. We are aligned that our desire is to make sure that all our businesses and our brand as value investment partners is established and rooted as a business entity that we can sell off at a later stage. And for us to be in a position where we are able to do that, we have put in processes and other people in to ensure that we are not the business operators, to ensure that on a daily basis, we are not the only ones who are working and doing and working and doing, right? Of course, we don't want to be banned off as well. However, we also just want to align with the long term vision. It's very important to make sure that there is that long term vision, no matter what it is, whether it's you just want to have the freedom to do what you want to do wherever you are in the world. That was important to us to make sure that if we decide we're going to be in somewhere in the Caribbean islands for a month or two, we can still be there and do what needs to be done for the business, right? So that's the time freedom that for us is important. We also, of course, everything for all this to function is the financial freedom, and then of course the uh, time freedom. You want to be able to step away without feeling anxious that, oh, I've missed calls, or I'm not able to do this, I'm not able to do that, because you have systems in place, processes in place to ensure that you're not the only person who is running this business and doing every single thing, such that if you stepped away, everything is just going to fall apart. All right, I think that was a lot. We spoke about a lot. If there are any questions, I don't see, let me see if I have any questions on the platform or anybody has any comment. I don't see anything. I'm going to assume that uh, that means you are sitting and pondering on where you are as a business owner. This is something that I think we all as business owners regularly we have to sit and think about and say, okay, we're building this business. Where are we? Are we still business owners, or are we still just business operators? Is there a distinction? Do we want a distinction? And how do we make sure that we get to where we want to be? Other than that, it's been another wonderful Wednesday. I think I'm liking the afternoon. I think I like doing it in the afternoon, although I'm more of an afternoon person, and Lee is pretty much more of a morning person. So we'll see how that goes. I think uh, it- 4 o'clock is a good balance. It's not yet late in the afternoon, so we should be able to continue doing this at 4 p.m. And like we always say, this platform is really for you, for all of you business owners. We are looking to build a community of business owners who can partner with us, grow with us to impact each other so that we can build sustainable businesses in our communities. And that happens from collaborations, that happens from working with each other and being able to share insights. So, this is why this platform is here, just so that we can share insights with all of you. And if you have a business, if you are a business owner and you are interested in coming on board to share a little bit about what your business does and to share your insights on what you have learned throughout the years or as you are establishing your business, there is a QR code on the top of my left. If you can scan that in, we'd love having people over so that they can come and share their experiences. Please do scan the QR code and we will get in touch with you to set up a time when we can do this. But other than that, thank you all for being here today. Eh, and if there are any other questions, please do send through those questions. I enjoy having those questions because it helps us also think. It helps us look at things and say, oh, okay, maybe we need to do this. Maybe we need to discuss this. Maybe we need to do that. Yes, we're business owners, but it doesn't mean that we know everything and we do everything. So, a community like this helps us also to be empowered to be able to learn from each other and to share knowledge. All right, that was another wonderful Wednesday. Thank you very much for being here and keep showing up for yourselves and for your businesses. And we will see you next week, Wednesday. I believe Lee will be back. And see you then. Have a great afternoon and keep winning. All right. Bye bye.